The State Department wants people to get out and visit the areas in and around the Chesapeake Bay.
It is called the Great Chesapeake Bay Loop. And joining us this morning is Matthew Scales of the Maryland Office of Tourism and Development. Matt, you've been with us many times, and you always have such great ideas for how we can get out and see Maryland. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. Yeah, absolutely.
So tell us a little bit about what is this loop and where does it take you?
So yeah, the Great Chesapeake Bay Loop is a way to get around the Chesapeake Bay and a way to really experience the culture of the Chesapeake Bay. So you can start right here in Baltimore. So Fells Point, there's a lot of history. There's a lot of great seafood restaurants. And then you can continue around that loop to Annapolis and then along the eastern shore. So the loop kind of makes a figure eight around the quintessential bay towns, as we call them, all around the Chesapeake Bay.
So many folks know their particular neighborhoods. Folks in Canton know Canton. Folks in, Fells Point know Fells Point. But when you start talking about St. Michael's and you start talking about getting on the other side of the bridge, I'm sure there are a lot of spots, a lot of little small spots that are lesser known.
Yeah, and that's what's great about it. There's so many hidden gems. Like you said, St. Michael's, there's Solomon's Island, and each one of these bay towns has something to offer, whether it's getting on a schooner or a skipjack and taking a sail, or visiting some of the maritime museums in Annapolis and Baltimore. There's so many great stuff to do all around Maryland.
And those activities, I'm sure, change a little bit as you go from a city environment to maybe somewhere more rural. What are some of the activities along the trail?
So yeah, so there's water activities, such as kayaking. If you go down to Cambridge, you can kayak in the Blackwater Wildlife Refuge. If you go to St. Michael's, you can go to the Chesapeake Bay Maritime Museum up here in Baltimore. We call it our urban jewel. So in Fells Point, you have that history. You can get out on the water as well and do some of that stand-up paddleboarding, and then also, enjoy the great seafood we have, such as the crabs, the oysters, and the rockfish.
Wow. So Matt, we'll check back in about 20 minutes and we'll ask you how folks can find more information about it if they choose to plan that trip.
Sounds good, guys. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Matt Scales, he always has such great ideas.
I know. Sometimes you forget how much there really is to do in Maryland, and he reminds you every time.
He really does. He really does.
State Department wants people to get out and visit the areas in and around the Chesapeake Bay.
It is called the Great Chesapeake Bay Loop. And joining us this morning to tell us a little more about it is Chris Riehl. He's the owner of Baltimore Rent-A-Tour and the president of the Baltimore Tourism Association. Good morning, Chris.
Hey, guys. How are you?
Oh, we're doing well, thank you.
Yeah, great. Now, Chris, you are kind of owning the Baltimore part of this loop. Can you tell me a little bit about your involvement in this?
Yeah, well, I'm just thumbing through the Destination Maryland guide here. There's so many great assets all up and down the Chesapeake Bay. I'm a Baltimorean, I'm a Baltimore tour guide, and I'm so excited that they're doing this because it really shines a light on some of the history here in our own backyard. Just across the harbor here is Fort McHenry, the birthplace of the Star-Spangled Banner, which, of course, played a hugely important role, not only here in Baltimore, but nationally in American history. Just an incredible story that we want to share with people.
Well, Chris, are you ever surprised at how much local folks, I mean, we're all here, we all live here, you included, don't know about their own local history because they just don't take the time to get out and see it?
Yeah, that's a great point. We have so much to offer right downtown, and I've taken local groups on tours before, and they are just amazed at how much is here. We take them out to Fort McHenry, and they say, I've lived here my whole life, and I've just never made it out to Fort McHenry before. So we want to get as many people as possible out there to the fort and all the other great assets around the region.
A lot of this, the whole point, I guess, of the Chesapeake Bay Loop is getting people to discover those hidden gems they might not have known about otherwise. Are there some of those hidden gems right around, the Baltimore area that some people may not even know about?
Well, sure. I mean, all of our waterfront communities have hidden gems hidden within them. Places like Fells Point, you can find some really great little shops and restaurants that you might not know about. Here in Canton, at the Waterfront Park, Fort McHenry, obviously, Federal Hill, all those neighborhoods, when you really take the time to get out of your car and walk around a little bit, you're going to find some things you probably never expected.
So, Chris, we know the loop takes you from Baltimore on over the bridge and down toward the shore. So what is the website for folks who want to maybe plan one of those staycations?
You can go to www.visitmaryland.org and get all kinds of information that's furnished by the Maryland Office of Tourism Development. They've done a great job of pulling this together, and it's really great for folks like me, business owners in the area that benefit from regional tourism. So thanks to the Maryland Office of Tourism for pulling this together.
Wonderful. Chris, thank you so much for being up with us this morning.
Absolutely. Thank you guys. Have a great day.
You do the same. Great to plan some of these weekend trips.
I know, and there really are so many little pockets of things to do, especially as the weather gets warmer.
Absolutely.
Get out there and explore.
Well, one thing you can do while it's still raining inside, you can eat.
Yes.